Today is going to be really exciting. You guys, there's so much to learn about astrology, and I cannot wait for you to learn about interceptions. So my question for you is, do you have a sign that is intercepted? And I want you to know which sign is intercepted, which house is intercepted, and if you have any planets that are in that intercepted sign. It is so important. It really matters. Now, this is quite an easy concept to get, but stay with me through this whole entire video because I'm going to teach you all about it and why it's important and what it says about you. And now, if you are studying with me and if you've watched all 400 of my videos, you know how many layers, there's just thousands upon thousands of layers that are baking our astrological cake. And you know that you're not just your sun sign. We're going to go through it, and it's going to be an easy concept to understand, but you do need to look at your gorgeous natal chart in order to understand if you have an intercepted sign. And you might not have even known this whole entire time one of your 12 signs was actually intercepted. Ooh. What does it mean? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to talk about what it means to have an intercepted sign, and then I'm going to go through all 12 signs. So you can kind of know, wow, I have Aries intercepted in my chart. Wow, I have Scorpio. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you for all 12 signs. So if you have one intercepted sign, it actually means you have two, because whatever is exactly opposite of that sign will also be intercepted. Now, let me tell you something. If you are a whole house person, I'm not. If you are, that's okay. Or if you are an equal house person, I'm also not. That's okay. You will never have an intercepted sign. I use Placidus, and sometimes I use Coke as my house system. That basically makes the houses all uneven. And so interceptions can happen when you're not using an equal house sign system or a whole house sign system. I like the complexity. I believe the world is not perfect, a perfect pie split into, an exact 30 degrees. You'll get to know what the struggle is, okay? Because there's a little bit of a struggle with intercepted signs. And it's important for you to know. If you have Aries intercepted, well, you're also going to have Libra intercepted. And if you have Taurus intercepted, you also know you're going to have Scorpio intercepted. If you have Gemini intercepted, you're going to have, you say it for me, Sagittarius. That's right. And if you have Cancer intercepted, you know that you're going to have Capricorn also intercepted. If you have Leo intercepted, you will also have Aquarius intercepted. If you have Virgo intercepted, you know that you will have Pisces intercepted. So you're going to want to stay and listen to both of these. If you don't have any intercepted signs, that's cool. That's fabulous. That's right on. Interceptions are quite common when you use Placidus and Coke. Listen to this video because you're going to learn a lot. And I promise you, you know somebody who you love and care about that has an interception. And when you're talking to somebody who you know has an interception, you know that there's a little bit of an internal struggle and a little bit of an internal challenge around expressing that sign, around that house placement, and around that planet if they happen to have a planet in that sign. And that is very, very important for you to know. Now, as I said, in this video, I'm going to talk about all 12 signs. However, for my members, and if you are a super supporter, it is so fun to have you here. This community is so loving and so kind, and my members only party rocked the world. I'm going to be loading that content up so you guys can go all watch that party if you are a member. Did lots of prizes and giveaways, and it was super fun, and it was deep, and it got really, really real. It was really beautiful. For my members, I'm going to do extended content on this subject for you because I'm going to go deeper into what does it mean if you have an intercepted planet, and I'm also going to go into the different houses. So I'm going to do the signs for everybody, but if you are a super supporter or a superstar super supporter, you're going to get to learn about the planets, and it's no small thing. If you have an intercepted planet, that is huge. That is gargantuan. That is enormous. And if you are interested in learning deeper astrology, more astrology, truthful astrology, going way past the superficiality and going deeper into it, it doesn't necessarily mean harder. It just means more. Come join us. It's only $2.99 at the lowest level. And after YouTube takes their cut, it gives me 5 cents a day. And collectively, it adds up a little bit. And so it helps me do more extended content. So if you want to support the channel, 5 cents a day. Come be a super supporter for just $2.99, or you can pick the higher level and get more benefits and more perks. Go check out my different levels. Come dig in deeper. I do want to say, if you have an intercepted sun, that is a BFD. That is a really, really critical thing to know. And if you have a personal planet that's intercepted, so that's the sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, that's also a pretty darn big deal. But if you have the sun, which is your identity, intercepted, you're not going to want to miss my members only video. So let's go in. What does it even mean to have an intercepted sign? And what the heck is one? An intercepted sign happens when an entire sign, now you know each sign is 30 degrees. It is when the entire 30 degrees is totally contained in one of the houses. And it also means it is not on the cusp of the house. So you would have a whole 30 degrees of Libra in a house per se. You would have Virgo as the front of the cusp, and you would have Scorpio on the back end of the cusp. And you guys learned about cusps. Say that 3 times. Cusps. Cusps. That's very difficult. In my last video that I did last week. And if you haven't watched my video on cusps and the truth of cusps, oh my gosh, after this video, please go over there and learn all about cusps. Interceptions are energy that has been thwarted, cut off, blocked, repressed, suppressed, and is hard to reach. And any planet that is intercepted, the energy of that planet is not as easily accessible to you. So that's why I said, if you have your sun intercepted, well, that's your identity. That is your life force. And if that is thwarted or cut off, I want you to think about interceptions as being buried. And it's very important to look at the house placement. Which house are we talking about? Which sign are we talking about? And which planet, if we have one. So you might not have a planet there, and you might just have the house and a sign to look at, but you might have all 3. You can also have multiple intercepted planets. You can have a whole stellium, right? This can be especially challenging. It can feel alienated, lonely, a little bit lost, a little bit forgotten, a little bit buried. One intercepted planet is enough, but when you have like 3 or more, a stellium buried or intercepted, that is an enormous statement about you. And that part of your life, by planet, by sign, by house, can really feel hard to reach. It can feel a little bit thwarted. Like there is a part of you that is unseen, not out in front. There's big desires. And I think that there is a lot of intuition and internal work that goes along with intercepted signs. How I want you to think about this is just like the most delicious, by the way, I make the best grilled cheese sandwich. Yes. And this, my friends, is your grilled cheese sandwich. Do you want to know the secret to why my grilled cheese sandwich is so damn good? I'm going to tell you. If you guys don't know about this, I am a really good cook. I know. I'm not trying to brag. I just am. I am a really good cook. I didn't start out that way in life, but I decided to embrace the Taurus in my life and teach myself. I had a mentor in my life, my beautiful mother-in-law, and she taught me how to cook at a really young age. And she taught me about all the spices that I never even knew existed. I still get intimidated, but I like doing recipes that intimidate me. But I'm telling you, I make a mean grilled cheese sandwich. So here is the trick to the grilled cheese sandwich I'm going to tell you. And by the way, interceptions are your grilled cheese sandwich. I'll tell you why.
When you're cooking your grilled cheese sandwich, first of all, you need fabulous bread. And I like to get bread that has rosemary infused in it. It'll knock your socks off. Then you use both. Are you ready? This is the guilty pleasure. You use both olive oil and real butter. And you butter your bread, and then you put olive oil in the pan. Not too much. You don't want it soggy, but it gets extra crispy. Now, what you do is you get your pink Himalayan sea salt. You salt the outside of your bread. Oh my God. And get the chunky kind. You want the grinder kind of salt. You want big chunks of salt on there. And then use any kind of cheese. I swear to God, I can make the meanest grilled cheese sandwich with just terrible cheese. I can. It tastes so good.
That's your grilled cheese sandwich recipe. But the reason why I'm talking about it is the intercepted sign is like the cheese in the grilled cheese sandwich. And so what happens is that cheese, that yummy cheese, and hopefully you're using better cheese than American fake cheese, is the gold. It's the delicious part. When you taste that melted ooey gooey cheese, it's so yummy, but you got to work to get to it. It's harder work. There's challenges because the energy is thwarted. But once you do work with it, it's a gold mine. Because, why is it? Because you have a full 30 degrees of it operating in one of your houses. And I hope you know what each house means. I have a whole entire video called Sun Through the Houses. Please, dear God, tell me you've already watched that video. Please, please, please tell me you know what the houses mean. If not, that's what you need to do after this video. You've got to go watch the Sun Through the Houses, because in that video, I go really deep into the meaning of each house. And if you have an intercepted sign in whatever house, go listen to that house in particular. That's where your energy is thwarted, but that's where the grilled cheese sandwich lives. Aren't you hungry for one now? Don't you hate me? After you make your grilled cheese sandwich, come back here and post all about it. I wish you could post pictures. So about 23 years ago, when my teacher was teaching me about intercepted planets, she talked about that energy being locked in a closet and there were no door handles. And I thought that was a good analogy because it feels trapped in there. But that analogy to me made it seem like I would never be able to access it. I kind of changed the analogy over time. And now I say grilled cheese sandwich because you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it, you can work with it. But it is in between two other things. You need those two other signs to give it structure, to assist it, to help it. So all three of those signs kind of work together. So you can't just have the cheese without the bread. I know you can, but just go with me. So I changed it from a closet to a grilled cheese sandwich. We kind of need to unlock the power and unlock the juice. And so it's going to require more conscientious energy. I will tell you, it's going to be a pretty obvious issue or challenge in your life, especially if you have more than one planet. And you'll probably be able to see it. I'm going to show you a couple charts here in a minute. But it can be that there was a lack of confidence, a lack of development, a lack of awareness, or this energy just left you or was not there. And I don't want it to make you feel bad about yourself. I just want you to know this is a little bit of your Achilles heel, and this is where you need to work with yourself a little bit. You know, this is where, like Michael Jordan said, he became a great basketball player, not because of the baskets he made, but because of all the baskets he missed. So he had to try harder and work harder. This can also be where you felt hurt, abused, overly sensitive, squashed, repressed, stuck in the closet, unseen, unheard, not valued, not important. And you might have even thought that it wasn't a big deal, but it shaped whatever happened, and you can know that by the house, it shaped you here unconsciously. So we need to work hard to get the energy to express itself in a more powerful way because it comes with insecurities. So let me just show you an example. I am going to first start with Princess Diana. So here's her chart. Now, this is what I want to tell you, and I chose this chart with intention. I want you to see how her second house has the interception. Now, look, her second house has a cusp of 29 degrees, 48 minutes. And I hope you guys are working with my gorgeous natal chart because they're so easy to read. And when I go get a free one off the internet, I can't always see the cusps and I can't always see the degrees of the planets. And that bothers me. And in my gorgeous natal chart, I design them myself, and they're bright and they're beautiful and they're colorful. They're easy to read and you can see all of the degrees. So she does have her cusp at 29:48. We would say that's the first slice of bread. And then she's got a full 30 degrees of Aquarius. And then we can also see that she's got 18 degrees and 21 minutes of Pisces also in the second house. So her second house is enormous. It is 30 degrees of Aquarius. It is only 12 minutes, not even one full degree of Capricorn, but Capricorn is the ruler of her second house, even though it's tiny. Capricorn is the boss of her second house. If you watched my video on the cusps and also my video on the chart ruler, you will understand what I'm talking about. So she has a really large second house. This second house is about 49 degrees, 1 degree plus 30 degrees plus 18 more degrees of Pisces. Pisces is not intercepted. Aquarius is intercepted because Aquarius is the sign that holds all 30 degrees. And if Saturn was in her second house, that would not be intercepted. So the intercepted sign is the sign that is buried in the house. And so we know that Leo is also going to be intercepted because the house cusp on the opposite side of the chart is always going to be the same degree. See how Capricorn is 2948? Well, Cancer is 2948 because the circle is the same size on the other side. She's got a full 30 degrees of Leo, and then she has 18 degrees, 21 minutes, the same as Pisces in Virgo. She has all these Leo planets, part of fortune, her vertex, her Uranus, and her North Node. And her North Node sits at 29 degrees in Leo. She never got to be the queen she was supposed to be, right? She was supposed to be the queen. 8th house issues, her life was cut short. Look how young she is. She was born in 1961. She died so damn young. And Mars and Pluto conjunct in the 8th house. It's very telling. We could go on and on about Princess Diana's chart. And if you ever want me to go deep into her chart, I will. Look at Jupiter's retrograde. Jupiter, the moon, the south node, and all of her Leo is intercepted. That is huge. That is so many planets in her chart. So let's go look at another chart. This is Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway won the Nobel Prize. He's one of the greatest American writers. He writes in very clear, short, succinct sentences, and he's a very fascinating person. He lived an enormous life, but I really want to talk about something interesting. He wrote mostly about love and war and loss and the wilderness. One of the major themes in his life was the theme of emasculation. Men that were emasculated. Now, look at his chart. It's very interesting. I couldn't believe it when I pulled this up. But he has his third house intercepted. And look at 2956. Still, there's only 4 minutes of Libra energy ruling his third house. But he has a full 30 degrees of Scorpio with Jupiter in the third house. And then 3 degrees Sagittarius. So he has about 33 degrees making up this house. It's not quite as big as Princess Diana's house. It's still an intercepted sign because Scorpio is intercepted. We also know that Taurus will be intercepted too, but he doesn't have any planets in his Taurus. However, the 9th house is a big house. It has that 30 degrees of interception. It has that extra 4 minutes here. And then it has that 3 degrees over here. So it's about 33, 34 degrees big. Now, let me just tell you a couple things about Ernest Hemingway. You know, he has a moon phase called gibbous. However, it's almost a full moon. And it would have been a full moon when he was just hours born by progression. We'll get into progressions later. But look at the moon sitting at 9 degrees. He has a 28 degree sun. This is a man who struggled very, very deeply with his mother. His mother ran the roost. She was extraordinarily talented, rich, wealthy, very bright. She was a Gemini. She was not going to do chores for a living. They had a housekeeper. His dad actually was his nurturer, and his dad did the cooking and many of the chores, taught his kids about the wilderness. And the mom took the kids to the opera, the arts, read them a book every single night, read them poetry, and made them understand literature and the arts. He played the cello. Every kid had to play a musical instrument. Anyways, he ended up really resenting his mom's control over him. And look, he has a Capricorn moon. And the 5th house, the arts, right? She taught them the arts. And I think her father was a renowned musician. I can't remember, but music was in her blood. She was very, very, very bossy and such a commander-in-chief and a control freak. I mean, a quintessential Capricorn moon that opposes his Venus. Like, he did not feel necessarily loved that way. I'm sure she adored him and loved him, but he just felt the criticism, and that's Virgo rising, right? Now, we're not here to read his whole astrology chart. This is the contradiction in the intercepted sign. Okay, go with me for a minute. The planets and the energy of the interception are buried. They're a little bit hard to find, but they are looming. That's why I called it a grilled cheese sandwich. And that's why I also called it that's where the gold is, because they are enormous. I'll give you another example. And I don't know if you guys ever studied mushrooms, but the mycelium circuitry underneath the ground is infinite. It is so big. Did you guys watch the movie on Amazon called Fantastic Fungi? Oh my God, you have to watch that movie. We are standing on like a mushroom city. It is insanity. The highways of what the mushrooms do is just infinite. It is just looming, but we don't see them. But the mycelium is one of the most powerful entities in our life. It's why the world exists. They will never go extinct. And in this movie, I learned that they're more powerful than other living entities. I want you guys to study that because this is like the mycelium. So this mycelium network underground is what transfers nutrients and water and food from one tree to the next. And it is all interconnected. And so what I was going to say is all we see is a little mushroom grow up under the ground, right? We don't see the whole network. That's why I want you to watch that film. That is what your intercepted planet is like. It's got a massive strength inside of it, but you don't have easy access to it. But once you do tap into it, it is vast and wide. It is so powerful because it is all 30 degrees condensed in one house. And so I think Ernest Hemingway, while he did have a lot of tragedy in his life, he experienced a lot of death. He writes about it a lot. He died by his own hand, and he was cleaning his gun and had unalived himself. It was considered an accident, but of course, his wife was probably trying to preserve himself and his story. We don't really know the truth of that. However, with a full-blown Jupiter Scorpio in the third, writing about loss, death, and divorce, which were enormous themes in his own life, was gargantuan. I also want to tell you the ninth house is in play, and you know that the ninth house is about your belief system. This is also intercepted. So this is like the mycelium. These are going to be, once tapped into, these are going to be enormous themes and enormous players. I also find it interesting that we have a double whammy with Jupiter because the ninth house is Jupiter's house because it's Sagittarius. And so we have Jupiter intercepted. We have it in Scorpio. We have it in the third and ninth house. That's the writer's line, right? The third house is written word communication, and the ninth house is getting your works published. And he became enormous. He became an absolutely enormous figure, born in 1899, but lived all the way to 1961. And then his death, I think, is sad and interesting. But I think that you can see that he actually tapped into his highest potential, Jupiter, Scorpio, on the themes of loss, death, divorce, war, loneliness, and emasculation. Wherever you have that interception, I want you to know that there is infinite energy inside of it once you can let it come out. I also want you to think about this as early life and late life. You can see how in your early life, so I would say that's before your Saturn return, the intercepted sign might have had more problems expressing itself. And as you have gained more experience in life and as you've grown, you have developed the ability to hopefully tap into your intercepted signs. So if you have Aries intercepted anywhere in your chart, now, of course, you need to know about which house Aries is in and take that into consideration. And also, if you have planets there, it's going to be a big deal. But just the sign Aries tells me that, especially in your early years, your confidence was thwarted. You struggled with finding the courage to put your dreams into action or to put yourself into action to align with your dreams and to truly get life on your own terms and go after what it is you dreamed of and wanted. And you might have even felt like the way your life was set up, you got dependent on other people more so than you wanted. You probably didn't even want to be dependent. And there is a real procrastination that can happen. Once you tap for the gold and you find the gold, you find infinite power. And you also find that the restlessness inside of you actually wants to get focused and direct and wants to win at life. So find your courage. Don't let it be thwarted. Let's talk about Taurus. If you've got Taurus intercepted, you can really kind of have a little bit of an ADD about you where it is very hard to complete anything. And you might even pour your heart and soul into wanting to do something only to get bored with it very quickly. And it's not even a boredom. Because I think Tauruses can deal with boredom. It's more of a laziness. Like, I just lost interest in this and I don't really want to stay committed to this thing. So lacking a little bit of a commitment. Now, once you really work on this part of you, you become one of the most committed people that you know. And you find an internal strength that just never gives up. But you probably had to dig for that a little bit. You probably have an immense amount of loyalty. Now, just remember that at first, the energy can be, and maybe if you've never even exercised this Achilles heel of yours, it just stays in the repressed energy. So some of you might feel like, oh, and I still struggle with that. Well, just know you picked that struggle. You incarnated to work on that struggle, but it doesn't have to stay a struggle your whole life. If you have Gemini intercepted, you might have had to deal with closed-minded people that affected your mind, that tried to pound more conventional, less open-minded systems or doctrines into your life, real right and wrong. You might even see that you became closed-minded for a while, or you had a hard time accepting other people in their differences, or you also might have had a mind that just kind of spun on data points, not going deep enough, maybe living a little bit superficially, maybe also not wanting to grow up. Now, once you work with the Gemini energy, you find out actually just how smart you really are. So you could have also wanted to learn, you were curious about everything, but you weren't able to really sit down in a conventional environment to learn. So you might feel like it was hard to sit in a classroom and learn that way. But once you find the gold and once that energy gets expressed, you realize just how brilliant, how smart, how bright you are, and what a great communicator you truly can be, and how your curiosity gives you the ability to just learn everything. If you have your Cancer energy intercepted, I'll tell you, your feelings are probably on lockdown, really hidden in the closet and really uncomfortable to share your heart, share your feelings. Your emotions might even overwhelm you. They also might be erratic and irrational, too big, too deeply feeling, emotionally overly sensitive, maybe too clingy or demanding on other people. And also you can become a big fat complainer in life. Now, when you really work with this energy, you will find that there is a gargantuan ability to develop such a high EQ, develop intuition, and understand people and relationships and true motivations at an enormous level, where you are the psychologist or the person who can make people feel better, including yourself, where you become very rational and reasonable with your emotions. You know when you're acting too dramatic about something, and so you can sort of self-correct in a more easy way. There's a deep emotional awareness when this energy gets expressed correctly and doesn't get repressed, and when you don't feel left out all the time. If you have a intercepted Cancer sign in your chart, you probably felt, especially 0 to 14, left out. Why am I not loved? Why am I left out? Right? But that's not really the case. And you'll just have to learn that over time. I'll also say that when you have that Cancer intercepted, you just get your feelings hurt all the time. And when you really tap into and maybe seek out astrology or therapy or self-awareness, or you become a little bit more self-aware of self and others, you start to see, oh, wow, they didn't really intend to hurt my feelings. I don't have to choose to have my feelings hurt right now. If you have an intercepted Leo, there's a part of you that wants so badly to get your creative self-expression out there, but you might be a shy lion, really afraid to try, afraid to karaoke, afraid to put your art out there, afraid to dance. You might really want attention, or you might want to be seen. The process is thwarted. So I can also tell you that you just might not have received the kind of support, love, and attention that you craved in order to help you glean or gain confidence in your life to go out there and try out for the sports team, or try out for the thing that you wanted, or enter, your jelly or your jam into the county fair to get the blue ribbon. And you make the best pickles in the world, and you're too afraid to put them on the table and try. So this is kind of like the show pony that's afraid to come out of the barn. And when you do tap into this, you have that gold mine, you have that mycelium infinite network of massive creative power. So don't let it stay buried. Let's talk about Virgo. When Virgo is intercepted, I think that's when Virgo gets really lazy and messy. You've seen some messy Virgos. You've seen Virgos that are not organized, and you're just like, what? This doesn't make sense. Well, it's repressed. And it's also kind of a overly critical, kind of selfish person. And they also live in the chronic complaint of life. Like, nobody ever does anything for me. I'm always the one doing everything for everybody else. It also can be where you lack self-confidence and you just become so dutiful and in service that you truly are overworked. And then when you tap the gold and this energy gets expressed like a geyser at Yellowstone Park, it's almost like, wow, you have found your self-mastery, your ability to give and take. You now are a constructive critic in life rather than just a critical person. And you don't stay stuck in what's not working because you're a fixer and a doer and an accomplisher. And there's a great masterful skill set in you. And once this energy is tapped, you are enormously resourceful. And one of the most powerful things in the world is resourcefulness. If you are a resourceful person, you will adapt and you will survive anything. Virgo at its best is resourceful, and it can think very quickly on how to get out of the box. There is sort of a unique creativity to Virgo, but it's more in how do I utilize this? How do I use this coat hanger to unlock the door? Yeah. When Libra is intercepted, there becomes a lack of self-love in a way, or self-appreciation, or just accepting who am I? When you don't have a good sense of who you are, you lose yourself and you just kind of get taken by the current in the ocean. So one of the things my husband, who has raised 4 kids and they're young adults now, and I have a 16-year-old daughter, he told me I said, what's your best parenting advice? He said, my very best parenting advice is help your child, help your teenager, help your middle schooler, whatever, choose their friends, because their friends will shape them in high school. And boy, isn't that the truth? So this is very Libra. Libra is shaped by outer influences. And when Libra is intercepted, it's almost like Libra loses its identity, its voice, and its ability to speak up and say what I want. I don't want to drink at the party tonight. There's a lot of peer pressure with Libra. You just sort of metamorphose into whatever the external environment wants from you. And you start accommodating and over-accommodating until you erode your own self. There's a real difficulty with having an equal say because they don't want to upset anybody, and they people please their life away. They people please their identity away. They're givers, and they get taken advantage of because of their niceties. So I want to say, when Libra gets healthy and becomes confident and self-assured, what happens is they stop doing that. And now they broker deals and they become the harmonizer, the diplomat, and the great negotiator. And there is not a better negotiator on the planet than the Libra, because they can see both sides and they can broker deals and they can accommodate you without giving themselves away. It's a real art, and it's smart, and it has a high EQ. So it's kind of like if you were to take Aquarius energy and Cancer energy and mix them together, you get a Libra. I've never thought of that before, but it is really true because they have high EQs and high IQs, and they're ruled by Venus. And so there's a lovingness about Libra, but when you've really done Libra right, you've tapped the gold with Libra, you've mastered the art of relationships, and you know how to say no, thank you, without hurting the other person's feelings. My friend Karen always told me, you know how to make no feel so right. I love that compliment. I thought it was really cute. Okay, let's talk about Scorpio. When Scorpio energy is intercepted, it gets more repressed than it already is. So you get more secretive, more alienated, more cut off, more alone, more into your own world where it's that safe haven and you don't open up. And you probably are really misunderstood because people have no idea what you're really feeling or thinking about them or about life or about yourself. They can't read you. You will live a completely hidden life from others, and you will feel so invisible. And this isn't even what you really want, because you truly want intimacy. And it's a big self-sabotage here when your Scorpio is intercepted. And trust me, I know this one really well. I'll tell you what this kind of feels like. It feels unsafe to expose this part of yourself. So what you become a master at is deflection. And so you share very little, but the person might not even know that, but you know that. And there is such a deep secrecy and privacy that this part of you is a little bit cut off from merging with other people. It really does depend, and you guys need to know this, it depends what planet, if there is a planet, that is being shaped here. So this could be your sun, this could be your energy, Mars, this could be your Mercury, your voice. You do need to know the planets. When you tap into this is so friggin' powerful, because you're willing to get vulnerable, which creates intimacy. And this part of your chart can create intimacy. There is a gold mine. And intimacy looks like, I get you, I see you, I know you, I feel you, I understand you. It is deeper than deep. This has so much power in it. But I would say to have an intercepted sign in Scorpio is very painful, because I bet you this part of you, especially when you were young, all the way through maybe even your teenage years before your Saturn return, it was very painful or hard to share this part of yourself, because you thought it was either not appreciated, ugly, not good enough. It didn't hold power in it. It wasn't going to be as influential as you wanted it to be. So you held it within. This is sort of a keeping it within. And I think it is very difficult, because Scorpio is already repressed energy. I think it is very difficult for a person who has an intercepted Scorpio to let it pop out. I think it is very, very painful and very hard. There's a lot of pressure with this one, but with pressure, the geyser can be even bigger, and there's stress in this one. Let's talk about Sagittarius. I think that Sagittarius might have a really hard time knowing what they believe in, knowing what to believe in, developing a belief system, developing a real joy. It's like their joy and their joie de vivre, their courage, their desire to take risks is a little bit suppressed or repressed. And so they don't live as large as they want to. And they have these big ideas and big dreams, and maybe they even know what their belief system is, but then they lack the thing that it takes to set about on the walkabout or on the journey or on the quest. And so their quest in life gets thwarted. It gets buried. They sort of become an armchair dreamer. And I think that the big joy in life gets a little bit squashed. It's like they want to go travel the world and see the world, but they don't have enough money. Sometimes your blocks and your obstacles are not of your own doing. They might be, that's against my religion. That's my family wouldn't support me. I'm not allowed to go do that. They might really struggle with, I want to work for the circus. I want to go to Cirque du Soleil. My family would never support me in that. I can't do that. And so their dreams, their adventures get thwarted, and it is very, very sad. It is the sad clown. Also, they might feel thwarted because they might feel like other people don't believe in them. So they might not believe in their dreams, or they might not believe they deserve their dreams, or or adventure or goals or ambition or adventure, whatever you want to say. Or they might feel that they don't have the support around that. And I'm telling you, this is sad if this happens. And if you're 29 years old and you have an intercepted Sagittarius in your chart and you're not doing your dreams, I am going to cry my eyes out for you. I want you to just do it. Just do it. It's inside of you. It's a burning fire inside of you. You got to light it up, my friend. You got to light it up. By the way, you guys, if you want to learn real astrology with me, I hope you're coming to my retreat. It's in May. It's about 6 weeks away. I have a few spots left. I would love for you to be there. We are going to go really deep. We're going to get to know each other, and it is going to be mind-blowing. It's going to be just soul enriching. If you can't do that, but you want to learn more astrology, I really recommend you go shop in my shop. You can just click in the notes below or go to soulnavigation.com, click on the shop tab, and go get your child's report. It is phenomenal. Or go get your soul's design report. The soulmate package is incredible if you want to look at you and your soulmate. And I have tons of reports in there. I don't write them myself, but I have researched them and I have chosen the very best reports out there. And I really recommend you start peeling this onion. It is so exciting. There's not a lot of deep information on the intercepted houses. That's why I wanted to do this for you guys, for all my subscribers. Thank you so much. That's one free way that you can support this work is like, share, and subscribe. And then for my members, I'm going to do a lot more on the intercepted planets and houses for you. So look for that video. Let's talk about Capricorn. When you have an intercepted Capricorn, I think the word no becomes a very big part of your life. Like, no, I can't do that. No, I can't have that. No, that's not possible. No. And it's almost like you believe all of the roadblocks. You believe all of the reasons why you can't have something. And I think there's a little bit of a spinning your wheels working in a regular job when you want a job in which there's greater value, there's a legacy being built. And so I really want to encourage you, Capricorn, don't work in a dead-end job. Do something meaningful for yourself. And that's what happens when you tap into the gargantuan beauty of this energy is you can create a massive legacy for yourself and you can create work that is truly, truly game-changing, fulfilling, enriching, life-changing, and enormous. And so you don't need to believe in all the no's that have been told to you. Don't get lazy. Don't just accept things. Don't just be like, want. I guess I just have to do this job. I have to stock the shelves at the grocery store. No, not if that's not what's in your soul. If that's what's in your soul, great, go for it. But you're not really intended to just pump the gas at the gas station. You're intended to own the gas station. And I bet you feel that inside. And so don't just accept the small beans. I want you to be able to see your place in the world and the significance your soul can create and make and who you really are and step into the work. With Sagittarius, it's more of a dream. With Capricorn, it's like do the right steps and the right work to build, to build your Mount Kilimanjaro. There's something extraordinary inside of you. And don't just live in the, no, I can't have it. No, it wasn't intended for me. No, I can't get my visa. I can't go there. No, I'm not good enough. No, I can't do this. Let's talk about Aquariuses. If you have an intercepted, I want you to just use the word repressed, okay, when I say intercepted. If you have an intercepted Aquarius in your chart, there's probably a fear factor around being unique, being individuated, going against the grain, rebelling a little bit against your culture, your family, your tribe, your group, your house, your roommate, whatever. Blazing sort of your own unique trail, being different, dyeing your hair purple, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Accepting who you are as an individual and then going out there in the world and being that crazy, wonky, whacked out, kind of fun, exciting, different type of person is scary. And so you can become a consensus thinker and you can bury your needs to individuate from your family. And you can kind of just fold into the group or the sect or the society that you are associating with, losing your identity to the group consensus. And I'll tell you, you can feel really repressed with that uniqueness, like you just shove that uniqueness away and you kind of hide it and you detach from it. But it actually gives you a stomachache to not go do something unique in this lifetime that's different from everybody else. So finding the courage to be different. So tell me, when you were young, did you struggle with that? Did you struggle with, I know I'm different, but I don't really want to be different? It's kind of scary, right? It's scary to be the polka dotted zebra. It's like, I'm going to get eaten by the wildebeest. I don't want to be the polka dotted zebra. I just want to have stripes like everybody else. And it can be very, very painful, but finding that gargantuan individuation in this lifetime. You're a trendsetter. You're a role model that way. You're here to create the revolution. And it can be thrilling and explosive and amazing. Let's talk about Pisces. Pisces can really succumb to the dangers of escapism in this lifetime. When Pisces energy is repressed, they can also repress the needs in their soul. And so they have a song to sing. And for whatever reason, they don't find the friggin' microphone and sing it. They have a poetic soul that can't come out. That is so painful because they alienate from their dreams, their hopes, their wishes, the person they want to love, whatever it is. They alienate from that thing, from that gift, that talent, whatever that desire is, and then that eats them up inside, and then they want to escape from that pain. So this one is like a tumble downward. They all are, but this one's really easy to see. And I think it's very sad to see a repressed Pisces, because it's like this can just be the weight of the world and turn into just concrete depression, like you just have an anvil on you and you can't even get out of bed. Screw all of it. I can't have it the way I want it anyways. My lover doesn't want me, so just screw the rest of my life. I'm not allowed to go do that job for whatever reason. I've been told 1,000 times to just F the whole world, right? And so I'll just drink a bottle of tequila. I'll just sabotage. I'll just get high. I'll just run away. I'll just go live on the other side of the world. I'll just not communicate with anybody. I'll just pull the covers up over my head, whatever that looks like, just screw it. And so Pisces can get so devastated and so discouraged that life is not on their terms that they get paralyzed by it and they shrink away from it rather than really stepping out into the world and saying, I'm going to try again. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to figure out a path. I'm going to look no squarely in the eyes, and I'm going to turn it into a yes. That's really hard for Pisces to do because they're really, really sensitive. I know they can do it. I've seen it, but it is difficult, it is challenging, and it is painful. And so if you are a Pisces, I'm going to beg you, and if you're new, if you just met me and I'm only getting to meet you today, I want you to go watch my entire Pisces playlist. Just do that for me because I go really, really deep into what it means to be a Pisces, and Pisces are deeply, deeply misunderstood by their own selves because there is complexity here. And so escapism is the name of the game. And I'm going to tell you, get confrontational, get in it. Get confrontational with yourself. Like, go talk to yourself in the mirror and be like, get on it, right? And make your plan. And don't let another day go by where your dream, where the idealization of the life you want, because you think it's not achievable, is not being worked on. No, put the ideal out there and work on it one day at a time. You need a little Virgo in your chart, a little Capricorn, a little Taurus in your chart to help you with the routine. Make that commitment to pull yourself up and out because let me tell you about your mycelium network. Yours is the biggest. Pisces rules the space of the infinite. So between here and the edge of nothing, that's Pisces. And so you've got giant thoughts, giant dreams, giant energy. And that's why it's hard to navigate and hard to manage. And that's why it can get so depressing. And this world just doesn't live up to your ideals. And that's what it means to be born a Pisces. I'm sorry, I know. But getting okay with it and just doing your very best on a daily basis is how you pop out of that interception. And this one's going to take a lot of work. So I really recommend, if you are a Pisces, to study astrology so deeply. Get one of my reports, get my child's report or my soul's design report. You will love it. I hope you guys got a lot out of understanding what each sign brings you when it's intercepted. Now you have to add the subject, that's the house, and the planet, that's the energy and how it is activated out there in the world. If you just want to come learn with me, come join today and be a member. I would love it. And it's a great way to say thanks and support the channel. And please know that I am so grateful for my members. I just love having all of you here. I love that you're learning astrology, and I can't believe how many people want to learn astrology. Enjoy your grilled cheese sandwich. I hope it's yummy and delicious, and I can't wait to hear about how you overcame your interceptions. I have an intercepted chart, and it took a long time for me to find my gifts and have the courage to put them out here with you. And you can see me stepping out of my intercepted signs and planets by just sharing myself with you here today. Get courageous. I know you can do it. And I'm rooting you on in your world, wherever you are at in the world, from my home here in Seattle, Washington, to wherever you're at. I'm sending you so much love. Take good care. Bye.